at Washington with an over-under of 50, which, what was the final score of the New England game, actually?
Last week,
Yeah.
they Washington scored either like 7 points. They lost 27-10.
So that one only ended up, that was a over-under of 50,
Mm-hmm.
or 50.5, and that one only ended up scoring 37. So this week we have Saints at Washington, over-under of 50. Who do you like? What do you like?
Well, I like Kirk Cousins against a
Hmm.
Washington defense that is you can throw on them. They or excuse me, against a Saints defense that is
Yeah.
allowing a 112 passer rating to opposing quarterbacks.
5,200 on DraftKings, 6,500 on FanDuel, which is still pretty cheap for a FanDuel quarterback.
So Washington players are definitely worth consideration. My favorite, because of he's got a great price, especially on DraftKings, is Jamison Crowder, he's been getting targets, consistent receptions since
I
week
thought he
three.
played for the Celtics.
You're thinking of Jay Crowder, Jae.
Oh.
Two common letters in his first name, so you're close there.
Hmm.
But from week 3 to week 9, receptions for Crowder 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6. He's not nothing over 100. No TDs in there, but I think that everybody is going to look at
Well,
that number. They're going to look at that Saints defense. They're going to say, "Let me load up on Garcon. Let me load up on Jordan Reed. Let me load up on not Deshaun Jackson because he's not back yet." But I think Jamison Crowder is going to be the one that would benefit from. He'll benefit from some single coverage, and he can catch. I haven't watched a lot of tape on him, but I'm pretty sure he's one of those. He can catch the deep ball, but then they'll throw him screens and stuff too.
mhm.
So, and I could be wrong. I really should have looked at some tape on him, but I like the pick, and he's
Yeah.
averaging 9.3 points per game on DraftKings, and for only 3,500, he is one of the cheaper receivers you could go with this week to
Yeah.
help surround yourself with studs. So
Well,
I like.
3,500 with an average of almost 10 is already pushing value territory for
Hmm.
him. And it sounds like this is one of those guys that's been getting the targets, but is still under the radar because he hasn't hit the end zone.
Hmm.
But it's all a matter of percentages in the
Yeah.
NFL. And the guy that's getting the chances eventually has to break. And it sounds like everybody, because I also didn't mention the over under is 50, the line is even. Unlike
Yes.
last week when the over under was 50.5 and the line was like New England by 13.
Hmm.
So that means that Vegas agrees that Washington is going to score some points in this game. So yeah, you kind of got to figure that's a good chance to be the breakout week for the guy that's been getting the targets and not finishing,
Hmm.
essentially.
Yeah.
So I
So
like that pick.
yeah. So those are my two plays. Although it wouldn't be crazy to look at a rusher for Washington. They're giving up 4.7 yards per carry, 122.6 on the ground. I haven't really been following them. I know Alfred Morris and Matt Jones have been splitting the work,
Yeah, Chris Thompson's even been getting some looks in there
and
too.
so and they're all very cheap. If you were, I'm just going to look at FanDuel right now and scroll down, and they're going to be great values. Matt Jones is 5,600.
Yeah, he's going to be the most expensive, but he's only 3,300 in DraftKings.
So that's a great worth a look.
Hmm.
Uh, Alfred Morris is 52. He only got 4 carries last week against New England. So, I mean, you'd look for the guy with the most work. I'm going to say it's Matt Jones. And he's definitely worth a flyer. I mean, the over-under's 50. A lot of points are going to get scored on both sides of the ball this week.
Hmm.
You got to like all the Saints. Breeze, Cooks,
Yeah, Snead
Sneed.
is questionable. He's a
Sneed
little
is
banged up.
a little banged up.
And Washington is actually really strong against the tight ends. Again, we don't always put so much credit into matchups,
Hmm.
but they're I think 31st against tight ends,
They've given
somewhere
up
right up there.
they've given up 35 receptions for 383 yards and a touchdown. So yeah, they're strong. Doesn't mean you fade Ben Watson, but there's a lot of good tight ends this week. I'd look
Hmm.
elsewhere, and we'll get to Gronk, who's probably going to be heavily owned this week. So Who did I say? Oh, Mark Ingram.
Yeah, he's a little expensive. He's 7,700, 6,400,
75 on FanDuel, but he's just
75.
he's getting that work, and it just takes 1 week for him
Yeah.
to blow up. The past, let's see, since the what week is that? It doesn't say here, but
Well, and don't forget, Robinson just went out 2 weeks ago. So
mhm.
last week was really his first week not sharing that.
And they're not giving touches to C.J. Spiller, even though he's
Hmm.
healthy.
Yeah, he's getting receptions, but not touches. They're pretty much using him as a wide receiver.
Mark Ingram last week, 22 carries. Week before, 16, 14, 20, 12 against Philly, although Philly's got a good run defense. Dallas, 17.
Well, I
He's
think
getting,
that Philly game, double check the line, and I think that was one where Robinson got like 10 to 15
did
or
he?
something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Could be wrong.
So I like Mark Ingram every week. He's definitely worth a look, although he is expensive. So I think a lot of tournament players will be looking somewhere else, but I like Mark Ingram a lot. 64 on DraftKings.